Happy Free Agency Day, MFFLs. NBA free agency opens at 5 o'clock Central tonight, and there is a lot of chatter between the Mavericks and Klay Thompson. We're going to talk about that, plus a new note on Derrick Jones Jr., Harrison Graham, and Jeffrey Cooperstein. We'll get to the latest on Klay, which appears to be that the Mavs are one of 3 big-time suitors to land him. And if you love the Mavs and if you're excited about today, hit that like button. Let's go. Let's get, what do you think, 800 likes on today's show?
Yes, I'm in on that.
I think we can get to 800.
So you say it's a 3-horse race. I think it's a 2-horse race.
Well, just based on the report. But it does feel like the Mavericks are the Lakers.
I think it's between the Mavericks and the Lakers for the services of Klay Thompson, obviously the third Splash Brother 4-time NBA champion. There's a lot of questions that are going into this. Now, I will say this. If it's going to be with the Mavericks, it's going to be via a sign and trade. And there's something to note with the sign and trade, and that is that the contract has to be a minimum of 3 years with no options in that third year. So it will be a straight 3-year contract for Klay Thompson if he becomes a Maverick. Yeah,
and it certainly seems like they're comfortable. I mean, it sounds like they're serious about this, that they want to pursue Klay. We talked about this on an episode a couple of days ago, and there's definitely risk involved.
No doubt.
The defense has fallen off. He didn't play as well last year, but he feels disrespected by Golden State. Could he have a resurgence in another situation? I'll say this. I saw a stat. He hit the second most catch-and-shoot threes last year, and the Mavericks couldn't hit one of those in the finals, so I think he would certainly help in that regard.
Absolutely. I think these are the 3 main questions when I look at the pursuit of Klay Thompson. Is he a starter or a 6-man? I have great concerns if it's Luka, Kyrie, and Klay as your starting 3 there, because I think that would be a terrible defensive backcourt, so to speak, if you consider Klay as part of a 3-man backcourt. And then how much money per year are you going to give him? You know it's going to be at least 3 years. Are you giving him north of $20 million? And if you do so, how does that affect Derrick Jones Jr., and will he become a priority? And we'll get into more about Derrick Jones in a minute, but there are certainly questions surrounding the pursuit of Klay Thompson to becoming him.
I almost feel like if you get Klay, it's that much more critical to get Derrick Jones, because I
agree.
He's kind of it's kind of like an offense-defense setup where Klay's your offensive 3, Jones is your defensive 3. So, and because let's be real too, if you get Klay, you're probably losing Josh Green and or Maxi Kleber,
Yep.
so you're losing one of your bench defenders. So, I think you have to figure out, okay, if we get Klay, which I'm cool with, what does the rest of this look like? Who are we shipping out? Is Jones back? If not, who are we trying to acquire for cheap to help replace him? You got to figure out those things. So it's not just a simple, let's get Klay Thompson and figure it all else later. The Mavs have to have a pretty clear plan here, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't quite work as simple as let's just get Klay and we can go from there. No, I mean, you still need to get Derrick Jones. If not, you need to find a replacement for Derrick Jones, and I think that is difficult given how good he played for the Mavericks in this system this season. Marc Stein had the report that Klay is going to be the priority over Jones, it seems like, in this free agency window, early on at least. So we'll see what happens, but it's a very interesting development, and I think the Klay thing is just fascinating.
Do you think Klay is on a new team tonight? It feels like this could happen pretty fast.
Yeah, I think it does happen tonight.
I think free agency opens and the Warriors listen, or Klay, the Warriors / Klay listen to what Dallas and LA are offering, both financially and then in pieces with the sign and trade, and then free agency opens at 5. I think by 8 o'clock he's on a new team.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think this happens tonight.
And let's be real, Klay is already getting talks from his representatives about what's going on here.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, if you want to call it tampering, but we already know that Klay knows where his interest lies and vice versa. So would you guys sign Klay Thompson, though? Type S for sign, type P for pass down in the comments. I'm still on the fence. If they do it, I'll talk myself into it. If they don't, I think I would lose sleep.
I'll say this. If you still get Derrick Jones back, I'm all the way in. If you don't, I got to see what else you're doing.
Yeah.
Because if you don't get Derrick Jones back and you don't get an adequate replacement, you're kind of shifting back to being a more offensive-heavy team. And 2 years ago when you tried that, that was easily the worst year of the Jason Kidd era. So
Ever.
I think you have to factor that in. Now, I think we have to, there are other factors like Luka and Kyrie the second half of last year defended much better? Can they commit to being season-long, higher-level defenders? Maybe, but they're never going to be great defenders.
Exactly.
This is the contract projection you put together. I'll say this, Coop. The numbers are all over the place in terms of what people think he can get. Tim Kawakami of the Bay Area said he thinks it could be just over the taxpayers mid-level. So I was like, what is it, 15? Which that feels low. 25 plus feels high. Like, I think it's going to be in the low 20s. Like, I think like a 3 for 66 or something like that. Like, this feels like the most it would be. 3 for 75.
I think this is the most it would be, and that might be what the Mavericks have to offer in order to get Klay. Look, man, it's a lot of money for a guy who's 34, who's has had a torn Achilles and an ACL. Now, I will say he played 76 games last year.
69 the year before, so he's been pretty healthy the last 2 years.
He's been pretty healthy, but the movement is not there. You know, he can't really guard much anymore. He doesn't dribble on offense, which is crazy to even think about, but he really can shoot it at a very high level still. And he would open up the floor a lot for this Mavericks team on offense. So.
And as weird as it sounds, he would get better looks here than he did in Golden State.
I think he would,
I think so. The way they're built at this point. So, yeah, I mean, look, like, again, I'm not interested. I would like to have him. I think you need a good defensive wing if you get him, because you could go from Derrick Jones and Josh Green coming off the bench to neither being on the roster, because I feel like there's a pretty good chance that Green is in that sign and trade, or Kleba. And look, say what you want about Kleba, he's one of your better defenders too. So, like, you got to replace like that defensive prowess if you're going to lose it, especially if for some reason that means you can't get Derrick Jones back, who we're going to talk about here in a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. The Mavs need to get defense, and if the Mavs make any move, whether it's Klay Thompson, whether it's Derrick Jones Jr., we will have it covered, so please be sure to hit that subscribe button. Free agency just hours away, believe it or not. It's going to be very fascinating to see what Nico Harrison has in store for this Mavericks team.
Let's talk about Derrick Jones, Coop. He is signed with Clutch Sports, and look, that doesn't necessarily mean he's done here. What it does mean is that he's hunting for top dollar, and shit, I can't blame the guy.
No.
Like, this is probably the biggest contract he'll ever sign. Let's be real. He's coming off a career year. He's not old, but 26, 27, a career journeyman. Like, it's possible he regresses back. Like, he's got to cash in while he's got the chance. And I'll say this, Coop, if he gets an offer beyond the taxpayer mid-level, I do think he'll sign elsewhere.
I agree, yeah. I don't think it's the kiss of death that signing with Clutch once was under the previous regime of the Mavericks. Nico Harrison has a decent relationship with Clutch, so that's not that big of a deal. But I will say that the Lakers are going to be a team to watch for Derrick Jones in free agency as well, especially because they have that non-taxpayer mid-level exception. I don't know. I think that Derrick Jones is going to get a big payday. He has talked about at length about how he wants to stay in Dallas, wants to be with the Mavericks. But it obviously has to be at the right price. Oh, my God.
We're watching the Euro Championship right now, and England just scored in the 95th minute.
On a bicycle kick.
To force extra it's not overtime, whatever it is.
Extra time.
Extra time. Holy smokes.
But back to Derrick Jones. I think Derrick Jones wants to be a Maverick. I think the Mavericks want Derrick Jones back. So there's obvious mutual interest there, but I do think he will go to the highest bidder, and I'm not sure that is the Mavericks.
Well, if he doesn't get beyond the taxpayer mid-level, I think Dallas is comfortable, because I don't think he's going to leave Dallas if it's within the realm of mid-level exception. But what if some team offers 4 for 60, Coop? Like, if that's out there from a team, like,
he's got to take it,
there's
right?
nothing Dallas can do. I mean, they can't open up like true cap space beyond the mid-level. So we'll see.
Last week we were probably 70-30 that he was going to be a Maverick. I think
I would have said like 85-15. I'd say maybe now it's 70-30.
Oh, I think now it's 55-45.
No, I still think the Mavs are a clear favorite here. Like, who's paying?
I hope so.
Throw a couple teams out there. You mentioned the Lakers.
The Lakers will be, with the mid-level exception, you have cap teams like Orlando, like Philadelphia.
So you think he would leave the Mavericks full mid-level to take the Lakers full mid-level?
It's possible.
State income tax factoring in. If he's truly about maximizing dollar here, I don't think he would take the same contract to go to Los Angeles. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe wants to go play with LeBron. I don't know.
Yeah, the Clutch connection could be a thing, but I don't know. I hope he's back, and if he's back, then I'm cool with Klay being here. Let us know what you guys think. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Will Derrick Jones be playing in a Mavericks uniform next season?
All right. If anything happens tonight, we will be back with another episode. I got to be honest, this England thing has distracted me here. But we will see you guys later. Stay tuned. Happy day one, and we'll see if it's a happy day for the Dallas Mavericks.
See you guys soon.